So hello everyone, I am finally back with another video. And what a crazy week. The Veve market has absolutely boomed over the last couple of days, and we have seen a massive run up with some collectibles taking 2, 3, even like 10x jumps, which has led to a massive increase to our overall world valuations. So I think a lot of us, we are really happy and euphoric about it. People have shared a lot of screenshots of their vault valuations, which have reached like 4, 5, even 6 digits in valuation, which is insane to think about it. But with the awareness that like our NFTs and our Veve vaults are reaching such high values, and for some people they are really like a big part of their net worth, it's understandably that there's also increasing worries about the security around the app, particularly the security around the NFTs, and in general how to protect our wealth, right? So in this video, I just wanted to walk you through some of my security tips and practices I picked up and implemented in the course of the more or less the last year, because that's when I started to get into crypto and investing. And yeah, let's be honest, like all the blockchain scene is like the Wild West. There's not a 1 month passing without a major scam or happening. So that's when I really realized, okay, I have to take my digital security seriously and take my time to understand a bit and learn about the basics of what we call like the digital hygiene, right? So of course, I'm by no means an cybersecurity expert, and so the things that I will talk about today are just what are considered like really basics of your digital security. And if you are already familiar with crypto and have been in the space for a long time, then you're probably familiar with most of the concepts I'm going to talk about today. However, as Veve also attracts a lot of users that have not invested in crypto, and may have not given any thoughts about the digital security until now, I just want to cover some basic topics of what they can do to improve their security and what to look out for. So before we start, for everyone new here, I am Kelly, and thank you very much for taking your time to watch this video. And in the end, if you like the content and think it could be helpful for someone else, then yeah, feel free to hit that like button. And yeah, without any further ado, let's get started. So Veve has already implemented some of the like security features such as two-factor authentication, but there are still some improvements they can make, because something that I would really like to see is like a PIN lock or unlock with your fingerprint to open the app. So someone that gets access to your phone does not automatically get access to your Veve account. But apart from that, there's also a lot of things that we can do to improve our device security and to prevent our accounts to getting hacked or compromised in any way. Let's start off with some like really cybersecurity basics, or what they call like your digital hygiene. So first of all, you should always keep your device and all the apps and software you use on your device up to date, because you will often get like security updates and patches that are released, which basically improve your security. Also, keep your device clean. So this means you be really mindful about what kind of apps and applications you install on your device, and also really check about what kind of access and permissions you give the apps. Just one example, when I was looking for an QR code reader app, we often tend to just download the first one. However, I was looking at the like permissions the app was requiring, and was like giving access to my contacts, my location services and all that, and I was thinking like, hold on, for my QR code reader you only need access to my camera and nothing else. So just taking this 5 more minutes to really look for an app that just uses my camera and nothing more. So yeah, just be mindful about this kind, and also don't keep any apps that you're not using. Next one is also what is very recommended, is that you always disable your Wi-Fi and Bluetooth whenever you are outside and you don't actually use it. Also very important is to be very careful where you plug in your device, like especially in public spaces like airports, or even like a rental car. They sometimes offer like these USB ports where you can charge your phone, which is very tempting. But yeah, be careful if it's in a USB port, because if it's like a public space, you don't know if it has been tampered with, and then like hackers easily can get access to your data through these ports. So if you need to charge your phone when you're out and about, then just remember to take your adapter and plug it into an electrical outlet, and then you won't have this security risk. You also should always try to keep a backup of your phone, so whenever then you lose your phone or it breaks or it gets stolen, that you can easily access and recover your data. Another thing that some devices offer is a remote wiping service. That means that if your phone got stolen, that you can activate this feature, and then it will erase like all data, contacts, apps, call records, text, like anything, any data will be completely erased. And lastly, and this is I guess the most important, and actually I don't know anyone who doesn't do it, but there seems to be a lot of people who don't have it, is have a PIN or password or fingerprint to access your phone. Like, you don't want anyone to just be able to access your phone. So more on passwords later, but this is like really important. So because the fact that we take our phones wherever we go, and that makes them just really likely to be lost or stolen than just any other of our devices. So ultimately, to determine your digital security level is just to imagine if someone else gets hold to your phone, how easily can that person get access to your personal data and your accounts. And you want to imagine it like a fortress, just building as much security around it to make it really hard for anyone to get to your this valuable information. Okay, now that we've covered the basics, let's talk about our passwords. Using a strong password seems the most obvious, but it's often the least practiced overall. So what is a strong password? Obviously, our password should have no relation whatsoever with anything of our personal information. That includes like names, dates such as birthdays, anniversaries, even names of our pets, location, addresses, because for that you don't really need to be a hacker to breach that kind of passwords. Then the password should be long enough, so minimum 8 characters, and also a mix of number, letters, capitals, non-capitals, special characters, because simple passwords can easily, like nowadays, easily be brute forced, and even on the darknet, hackers can purchase lists with the most used passwords. So we should really look that our passwords are long and complex. And another really important thing is never reuse your passwords. And I made this mistake like years before. I had basically, I think, 3 different passwords that I used for most of my accounts, because yeah, let's face it, if we don't have like a super memory, then it's hard to just memorize all these passwords that we need nowadays for like all these different accounts we have. But this is really important because data breaches happen, and when you are a victim of a data breach, then it's very likely that a hacker's got hold of your information, and that includes your emails and passwords and usernames. So if you use the same email and passwords for different accounts, then it's very easy for hackers to access them. So there are actually websites you can use to see if you have been victim to a data breach with one of your emails. One of them is this "Have I Been Pawned?" I will put the link down in the descriptions. There you just put in your email address, and then it will tell you if one of your accounts with that email has been victim from a data breach. So, for example, this is just an example of my my standard Gmail address, which I used for the last 15 years, with which I set up most of my accounts. And as you can see, my account has been compromised in several data breaches, such as Atrax. This was like a data streaming service I used years ago, Canva, but as well, and this one really was and as well, like quite recently, CoinMarketCap. I think a lot of us might use CoinMarketCap, and yeah, in October last year they actually got breached, and so 3.1 million email addresses and accounts were found out to be traded on hacking forums. So yeah, the first thing I do when I see something like that is go and change my password for that account. And again, this is why it's so important that you don't reuse your passwords, because in these data breaches, if you use the same email and password for another account, and like in Canva, they got hold of my email address, geographic locations, names, password, and usernames. They can just use it and try it out with different sites and different accounts, and yeah, will have easily access to other of your accounts. So having strong and unique passwords for each and every of your accounts is a must-have. But of course, it can get quite complicated, and each and every one in the end has to look for a method that works for them. If it's like a pen and paper list or some kind of encryption tool you use and you store it on your computer. In the end, I opted to use a password manager. I used the Bitwarden. However, this also comes with its pros and cons, because using a password manager, you basically have one master password to access your account, and there all your passwords are stored. So it's basically a single point of failure. If anyone gets hold of your master password, then they get hold to all of your basically account accesses. So if you use a password manager like that, make sure that your master password is extra strong and that you change it regularly. And also don't keep like a digital copy of that master password. For example, one tip would be just to write it down on a pen or paper somewhere. You can even use like these kind of pens that, I don't know how you call them, ultraviolet pens. Like you don't see them if you write with them, just only if you use the light. Yeah, it's just, I mean, they cost nothing, like on Amazon, and yeah, you can write like that. You can write down some of your passwords somewhere, and no one will see that there's a paper with passwords on it. Also, I would never store any of my seed phrases for my crypto wallets on these password managers. This ones I only keep them pen and paper somewhere safe. Also multiple copies of it in different locations. Yeah, never store your seed phrases in any digital format. Only if you really know what you're doing and you're really a cybersecurity pro. Of course, there are also other options. I think there are also like some sort of hardware password managers. I think it's like YubiKey or something like that. But here I strongly suggest you do really your own research and really find something that works best for you. So the next layer of security would be two-factor authentication, and most apps nowadays, they offer this feature, so you should always set it up. There are different types of two-factor authentication. There's the email, the app-based, such as the Google Authenticator app, and then the SMS-based. But the SMS-based is really not recommendable, because if you fall victim to a SIM swap, then your two-factor authentication is also compromised. Also, what I don't like about the Authenticator app, which I use for most of my accounts, is that it is actually accessible without a PIN code or something, or fingerprint. So if someone has my phone and can access my phone, then they have basically access to my two-factor authentication. And this is again why you need to have a PIN or password or finger lock for your phone, and make sure that people cannot easily access your device. So what I actually did is, because I had to buy a new phone, because with my old phone I couldn't use Veve, so due to that I bought a new phone, but I still have my old phone. So what I did is I installed the two-factor authentication app on this phone, and all the 2FA codes, which are for really sensible accounts, such as my broker account, my crypto.com account, I keep on this phone, because this phone I just don't take with me when I go outside. It's normally always at home. Only if I go travel and I know I will need to do maybe something on these accounts, then I take it with me. This is just an option. If you happen to have your old phone lying around, then think about having your installing your and keeping your two-factor authentication on that phone, so it's not accessible from your main phone. So now Veve uses the email two-factor authentication, and I also saw a lot of people complaining about that. They would prefer the app-based two-factor authentication, because there's also a problem with the email, because normally we have our email provider's app like in my case, my Gmail app on the phone, and I'm logged in constantly. So if someone has access to my phone and goes into my Veve app, they can easily transfer any gems or collectibles to their account, because the two-factor authentication code will be sent to my email, and it will just pop up here and they will be able to read it. So that brings me to my next point, and that is I really suggest to have several email accounts. It may seem like a hassle and complicated to manage like different email accounts, but it is really totally worth it when it comes to our security. Because again, as you saw before, like hackers can easily get hold of our emails that we use in different accounts, together with our username, passwords, and all that. So to keep it really basic, I would suggest, for like at a minimum, to have like your general public email. This could be like your Gmail address, which you use for your social media, your newsletters, your online shopping accounts, because these are also like the accounts that get most likely breached. And this one I also use like for like family and friends to contact me or send me emails to. It's like my send and receive email. I also have another email which I treat as my trash email, because nowadays there are a lot of like sites, especially online shopping or just sites where you just sign up for one time because you get some sort of coupon or something like that, but you're really not interested in receiving all their spam emails. So I have like this trash email, which I use for that type of accounts, where I never look into it, just once every month, just to clean it up. Yeah, that's if you want. This is not really necessary, but yeah, you can think about that as well. And then I suggest to have another, what I would call a private email account, which you would use for your like more sensible accounts, which would be like your banking, your exchanges, brokerages, and accounts such as Veve, where you really treat like with money or valuable assets. And for that one, you can also opt for a more private or anonymous email provider. I did back in the day, I did some research, and I choose to use a provider that is called ProtonMail. I really like it because you can set up a free account and you don't need to provide any like personal information. You can set up an account without, like for Gmail, they ask about your name and address, and you have to give, and even I think your phone number. So, and ProtonMail, you can just set up an email account, without providing any of this kind of personal information. So these email addresses I only treat as receive emails. So with these accounts, I don't send out any emails. I just receive emails. So for example, for Veve, this would be like my two-factor authentication notifications. And with these emails, I'm not logged in my mobile device. So I do have the app installed if I need it like on the way, but I'm usually not logged in. And then I have a fourth email, but this is again totally optional, an email that I also set up with ProtonMail, but I don't use to log into any accounts, but I only use it for my password recovery. So it's my password recovery email. So like for most of the accounts, if you forget your password, normally you get an email to reset your password, which can also be an issue because as I mentioned earlier, normally we are logged in with our emails. So let's imagine someone uses your phone and they want to access any of your accounts, which is password secured. But they could easily go and say, I forgot my password, and then you would be sent a recovery email to the email address that you are logged in with your phone. So he could easily open that, change the password, you are logged out of your account, and things get really nasty. So what I thought about is that I want to receive these recovery emails to another email address, which is like totally private. I don't use it for any other account. I don't send emails from that account, and I actually don't receive any emails to that account if it's not a recovery email. So again, here I suggest you put in your some time to think about what works for you. This is just like one system that I use, and which works very well, just gives me this extra peace of mind. Always think that your security is only as strong as like the weakest link, and if you really want to know how strong your security is, it's like a good practice is to go through these case scenarios, like, okay, someone got hold of my phone, what is he able to do, what is he able to access? And yeah, just think about these extra layers of security we can build around, as I said, like visualize your fortress of sensible information and build security layers around it, just to make it hard for anyone who wants to get access of it. So that's it. These were my basic security tips. If you found this content useful, then please give it a like so other people can also find this video. And also, if you have any other tips or tricks, or if you think that I missed out on something essential, then leave a comment down below. Yeah, and that's it for me. I really hope you have a wonderful weekend ahead, and see you soon. Bye.